Hello, everyone. We are back. Not much to say this time because I said it all in the last stream. Just in case you weren't on the last stream, I did some work. I was showing off some work on Crosby, which we're going to have another look at in a minute. I'm just posting the new stream link around the place. Videos. Just so we can get some more people here. And if you want to share the link in any of your groups, feel free to. I appreciate it if you do. There we go. It is a pain being in so many servers because you've got to put the link in every single one. I don't think there is a... anyway, in other news, how are you all? Because I didn't get a chance to ask that in the last stream, so whoever that is in that channel. So yes, how are you all? Because I forgot to ask that on the previous version of this live stream. That's that. Yeah, I saw the video. I saw the video. I took a screenshot actually. I was quite pleased with that they used that and used the explosion to reveal the channel name. That was quite clever. And I was scrolling through it saying, oh, I wonder what clip they'll use this time. Because in the previous video, last year, they used one of Duck, I think it was. Yeah, they used one of Duck at Tidmouth. And this year they used one at Tidmouth, but Tidmouth being blown up. And I think it was the year before. No, I don't think I was in the one the year before, even though I was supposed to be. Because I didn't... Basically, if you have 100 subscribers, get a... if you have 100 subscribers, get a wiki page on the TWRC fandom site, because I only found that out after I've been unincluded from the previous two streams. Not streams. I've got streams on my mind now. From the previous two videos, because I was supposed to be in, I think it was the 2018 and the 2019 one, but I wasn't on anything. I wasn't on any like group thing or anything. I wasn't on the fandom site. I wasn't on Discord. I wasn't even on Hangouts or anything. And so I was supposed to be in the 2018 one. I was supposed to be in the 2019 one. I was in the 2021, and I'm in the 2021 one. So I made it to 2 out of the 4 ones I was supposed to. I was supposed to be in. So long story short, don't make the mistake I did. Get a fandom thing if you have 100 subscribers. Write down your bio and everything. Link your channel on the page, and make sure that the higher ups know that you're actually in the community and have 100 subscribers. So there we go. So yeah, I could have actually talked about this on the previous first 10 minutes. We talk about whatever segment, I guess. But yes, thank you, Luke, for reminding me of that. BZ Railway says he's doing fine. It's good. And I think it should be okay. I'll just put this video in here, or the stream link in the mini TTTEC that my friend, the Caledonian Engines, Cal owns. Promotion. I think that would go in there. There we go. It's been a while since I put a link in there. I should ask Cal if he wants me to link the server in the stream one day, because it is starting to lose some members now, because it is a very quiet server, but it's nice if you want to have a quiet chat with somebody. Okay, I've already got trains open from the previous stream, so we'll just share the screen to that. There we go. And if you would like to direct your attention, this is the exact same shot we were on when the stream deleted. So we are here at Crosby. And I really like how this is turning out. It's just worked so well from how it started out, which was just old blank baseboards and a bit of track. And it's just something about the feel of it. You know, when you even if you walk into a town or something and you see like just the nice way it's been built and the feel of it, it's very reminiscent of the village I used to live in. And obviously we've got Crosby. I really should have made a custom thing for Crosby, because the platform is too short to hold an invisible station. So I might potentially move this siding that way a bit, and then make the station platforms longer and just do a custom build thing for it. Or I might just hide the platforms down a bit. I think I might do that. I'll just hide the platforms down a bit and just put in a longer platform, because I need to put that invisible station there so that you can load your passengers on and off, like the rest of the stations on the map. It'd be a bit unfair if if Crosby was your favourite station. It'd be a bit unfair if Crosby was the only station that didn't have passenger scripting. However, I do like these shots here from the platform view, how you can see the track curving around into the distance, and obviously you've got the siding that is slightly run down because it doesn't get used as much anymore. And then we got the track that runs down here. And it was only after building this whole section that I realised the line needs to be climbing a bit to go up towards Wellsworth. And I tried to elevate it up, but that messed up the whole road and everything. So I think once I straighten this track out a bit more and bring it out to here, then I'll start elevating it when I curve it round to go up to Wellsworth. So I'll still get to put the elevation in there. But yes, Crosby looks very good so far. I couldn't have been happier with it. I mean, unless there was a better way to do these kind of textures, but other than that, I think I will take a screenshot of that. It's the first time I've actually looked at Crosby from this angle, so I will take that from there and then go down to a bit of a track view. Something about the town that just looks really nice. I think this might be my favourite town that I built on this map so far. And I'm not very good at building cities, as evident during the working on Tidmouth streams, which is why I quickly moved on from that. Because it's just, you know, I've not had much experience in cities, so I don't really know what they'd all look like in terms of you know, how things are laid out, which Edward's helping me with in the Norland route. He's helping me do city-based things because he's had a bit more experience than I have, whereas I'm better off at building all of the countryside stuff because, you know, having lived in the countryside for most of my life, obviously in different places, but, you know, I've kind of gotten a bit of feel for how the general look of everything is. I forgot to mention this, last Wednesday, I think it was last Wednesday, yeah it was, last Wednesday I added in these gates and made the entrance a bit thicker. I'll just turn down the sound. So I added in these gates. I know the bricks don't match, but it was the best that they had. I do like those kind of gates. They look a lot nicer. Still need to finish out the graveyard, but I have got almost everything else. I wonder why that's missing. Shouldn't be missing from there. I'll figure that out after. I think that might have deleted when I was deleting one of the bushes that were down here. That might have been the cause of it. Yeah, I'll probably I'll fix that up after. I did add some greenery over by the road, and I still need to add in some fencing, you know, to stop the cars from going off into the bushes or anything. And then I like this. It's kind of like a bit of a mountain almost, because if you can't see that upper road and you don't know it's there, you wonder why those poles are there, and then these poles are here, and then the road goes up like that, and then you think it just curves sharply to the right and heads up the hill. But really, you go to the left, and it curves sharply as a junction to go further into Crosby or along the coast to Knapford, or this way towards Dryall. And this is where the hill gets really, really steep. It's like the Gordon's Hill of the road. But the views are spectacular. Like from this side, I haven't looked at it from this side yet, but once all this is pictured in, it'll look really good. However, from this angle, and I did this on the last stream, but in case you didn't see it, from the road, when you're climbing up the hill, you can't see anything. You know, when you see those roads, and then you see the sea, and everyone's like, oh, I can see the sea. Then you get up to the top of the hill, and Crosby gets revealed to you. And it's just the look of Crosby from up on this hill. And I know it's all like from the back, and, you know, you're not really supposed to see it from this side, you know, as opposed to the rail, but I like it, and I like the look that you get when you can see, you know, you can see the main road off there. And obviously I'm going to texture all this in as well, and you can see all the buildings, and it's just really nice. So quite happy with how Crosby's turned out. This is definitely my favourite creation on the Railway Series iOS so far. And it's good. It's nice to have places that you're proud of on your routes, because usually, like, I've seen it with some people that I've been building with. I won't name who, but people that I've been on calls with who have been route building, most of them will say that they are proud of what they've done, but some of them will just say, good enough. And I mean, I am like that sometimes with bits that I don't like, but so I can't really complain. But, you know, more recently, I've started taking a bit more pride in what I've done, because I do feel proud of what I've done. And I know that there are some people that just build routes because they want to get a route done. And although I do want to get this route done, I actually want to be very, very proud of it. And I said, if I'm less than 90% proud of this route, then I'm not happy with it. And at the moment, I'm at around, well, with this area, I'm obviously around a 99% proud of it. But in terms of the whole map, I'm around 60%, mainly because Tidmouth over here, Tidmouth isn't the best. I don't really like Tidmouth, and I might have to add some more baseboards and taller buildings back here to kind of disguise the skyline a bit more. In fact, not that I will have to, but I will need to. I'm relatively pleased with it, but yeah, there's just some sections, like I need to add some more clutter down and things like that. The harbours could definitely be better, but there's not much I can do about the ground there. This side I would be happy with if this dock was longer, but there's not much I can do about that, because if it was, it would start blocking the entrance to this. There's a few things that I've kind of done wrong here, and I really should have shifted these back a bit more. But or even this river here should have been moved back a bit more to the left, because I was thinking about even getting rid of this station building and making one completely from scratch, like the hybrid IoS on the CNC Hub, or workshops, whatever they're called. But I'm quite happy with what I've got. It's just the station isn't long enough to, you know, with the whole head shunt here and everything, it kind of wastes a lot of the platform space to have some of the bigger engines come in here. So I was even thinking that if I do ever decide that I'm going to make a brand new station building, I will get rid of all of this parking lot here and extend the parking lot out into the yard a bit more and a bit that way. Get rid of all of this, but swap the station building so it's on its side along here, and then make the station building go all the way to the end here, just before the edge of this cliff. And I think that would, I just need to check that. Yeah, that's long enough. Okay, good. Oh, got it. Okay. But you know, I do need, I might need a bit more room. So moving that down here would probably be for the best. So I think I might do that, but then I'd have to move like some of these parking spaces aside and everything. And I think I'll save that for, you know, once I finish the route, because at the moment you can only really hold 3 large coaches, like express coaches in here. When in the railway series, Gordon's seen sometimes even pulling 8 coaches. And I think it's in Edward and Gordon, either Edward and Gordon or Edward, Gordon and Henry. He was pulling 8 express coaches, and this station's nowhere near big enough for 8 express coaches, especially with this head shunt. Because if you ignore the head shunt and just shunt the coaches all the way to the back of the platform, it does work. You can get around 4 to 5 express coaches with Gordon here, but I would like to fit the 8 coaches, because I really want to go hurtling through the Sudrian countryside. Yeah, I want to go hurtling through the Sudrian countryside with 8 express coaches in tow. And of course, I'll have to make all the stops, the express stops, out long enough for 8 coaches as well. When we go to, I think I showed this off. I definitely showed this off on Discord. I don't know if I've done it on the streams yet. It's the Sodor Roadways bus depot for Knapford, which I know this wasn't in the railway series in these buildings, TV series, but it was seen in the TV series. And although this is a railway series thing, we don't get to see much of what's on this side from the views at the station. And I thought, well, in the TV series, Knapford bus depot is very close in proximity to the station. What if I enlarged it a bit more, made it look a bit more realistic instead of just one little small shed on the side? Kind of expanded it a little and then made a maintenance workshop over here for some of the buses that need mending. So I did that. And we got another Bulgy, like a route master. Can never remember what this type of bus is called. It's similar to Bertie. Then we have another, we have a more modern version of the route master, I think that is, down there. So, you know, I do want to include some TV series elements where needed, like to fill in the blanks a bit more with some more space. Like over here, I use the TV series canal boats. I use them here along the river just to make up for the lack of decent canal boat assets. But other than that, I am really proud. I don't think I showed this off last stream. I made this this thing because this whole area is based heavily upon SI3D's version. But there are quite a lot of things I thought they did wrong. And I'm not saying like wrong as in they were just rubbish, because they were great. I liked all the modifications. But this pier was massive, and in Percy Takes the Plunge, it kind of, obviously this is a more modern version since then, so obviously they've got some more modern cranes like this gantry, rolling gantry one, but it says danger here. The tracks go into one and then head on down to the buffers. And I know this isn't as long as portrayed in the railway series, but I wanted to keep it the same length as that one. And I included that in, and I think I even named the track mark Percy Takes the Plunge. Yeah, there you go, Knapford Harbour, Percy's Plunge. So that if you want to drive your Percy down here with AI, you can send Percy all the way down here. And I will, actually, I'll probably add some invisible tracks so you can semi-recreate that, even though this took place ages after. Actually, no, I'll do that. I'll do that for the 50s version. I think it was the 50s. It was either the 50s or the 60s that Percy crashed over there. But yeah, I love SI3D's Railway Series map, and so I decided to kind of draw a whole bunch of inspiration from that when creating all of this. I did add in this road bridge as well to replace the FMA one I originally had there. And this is one that I got with the hybrid IoS, I think, and just looks very nice, and it just leaves enough clearance. I was testing it with some trucks the other day. It just leaves enough clearance for 3 tracks to comfortably fit through. And like, I think it's with the SI3D one, you have to kind of push them together a bit more, which doesn't look the best. So I prefer keeping the tracks, you know, relatively apart from each other where possible. And I know there's supposed to be a Tidmouth tunnel here, but I couldn't really find any nice way to integrate it into the map, so I decided just to leave that out. And just keep Ballyhoo and Crosby Tunnel. Yeah, Ballyhoo and Crosby Tunnel. And Got the loading depot here, which runs along there. And I was thinking about making it longer as well, and I thought, no, we'll leave that. Added in, haven't moved this fence yet. That's still something I need to do. I'm still working on that area. If I leave some assets out of place, it's a signal to me to let me know that I'm still needed there to work on some pieces. And we do have the brick wall that kind of leads up to here. I know it goes across the road, but that's like a divider to tell me where I can put most of the buildings in the Knapford. We do have the buildings here in Knapford. And I think this is one, yeah, there you go. I put one of the hybrid IoS's horrid lorries, faceless horrid lorries down. And I think I put the non-horrid lorry. No, not the non-horrid, the non-faceless horrid lorry, lorry 3. I left him in here as a bit of a surprise kind of that thing. Because if you go from the track view, you can see it says lorry 3, but he's facing away from them. You go in and you see the face, and you're like, oh, hello. It's a bit of a surprise. So I think we'll head on back down to Crosby now. I don't know, we'll do some more work on the countryside because it is very plain. It's just some textures placed accordingly to where they need to go. We should get some brown fences in. Nuts. I think I might just use this brick wall all the way down. There we go. So I spent a good 20 minutes or so doing that. Edward is here. He says, could you drop me the link? I did send you. Oh, wait, no, that's the link to the old stream. I'll do that in a minute. Winter the Cybernetic Tiger, welcome to the stream, says awesomeness over 9,000. Edward, everyone's been looking forward to speaking with you today because I'm too boring. I'll send you the link in a minute. Oh, now he says, oh, never mind, I can't. No. He says, oh, never mind, I can't in DMs. Oh, no, he is here now. Good. Oh, yeah, it's because the other link, Edward, that one didn't work.
Hello, everyone. I have made an appearance. Good. I don't know what time it is in Australia. How are you today? Oh wait, it's morning, isn't it? In Australia. So hi. Hello, Ben. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just muted. Just muted for a second.
Okay. Hello everyone. Good evening, morning. Sorry, I'm very disoriented. I was not prepared for this. I woke up a little bit ago because, I yesterday I had my second coronavirus vaccination. And the last one had some pretty mad side
Edward, you'll
effects.
have the stream taken down. You can't say that word.
Sorry. The bug, the big bug. I got my
Big bug. It sounds like an episode of Thomas and Friends.
The Big Bug, narrated by Mark Morgan. But, yes, I got my, I don't know, should I say vaccine? I got my shot for the bug, and, I got my first one a couple weeks ago, and it had some quite mad side effects. Don't let anybody tell you that there aren't any side effects, because there are. They're not dangerous. They just kind of put you out of commission for a little while.
Put you out of commission.
Yeah.
You sound like you're talking to like an engine crew about their engine. Like this overhaul will only put your engine out of commission for so long.
I don't know. Maybe that's an American thing, because we say that every now and again. Like, oh, I'm out of commission. But yeah, there are definitely side effects. They're not like I said, they're not like overly dangerous. They just make you feel pretty bad for a few days. My first side effects from the first shot, went away after, like, on the fourth day after I got it, they were gone. Like, I didn't feel anything for the first couple minutes until we got home. Then my vision started to get blurry and my head started to get fuzzy. And then after that, it was like, well, screw this. Can't do any work on the computer. Nobody's around, so I'm just going to go to bed. And then I woke up the next day. It takes a lot out of you, by the way. I don't know. Maybe that's just me because I'm weak from my other disabilities. But, like, it took quite a lot out of me. So I was asleep till the next day. And then, it was caused some pain. The next day it was soreness, shortness of breath, stuff like that. And then on the third day, the pain was kind of dying down, like soreness of the original shot area, but like the side effects were still there. And then I went to sleep again on that day, woke up, and I was completely back to normal. Very weird how immediate that was. And then this time I got the vaccine. I got the shot for the bug. Then I got home, and then everything was totally fine. Like it was very odd because the side effects for the first one, they kind of arrived slower. Like I slowly felt them on. This one was like I snapped my fingers, and suddenly, I was lightheaded. I had shortness of breath. Weirdly enough, I lost my voice, which was interesting. Like my throat kind of swelled up, I think, because I remember I was trying to eat, and it just wouldn't, like, I couldn't really eat. And every single time I swallow some of my own spit, I do that, by the way. You soak up the moisture in your mouth. I can feel it, like, slide over a bump.
It's like Thomas in the Magic Railway where he says, stoke up the magic in the mountain. Instead, it's stoke up the moisture in the mouth.
Stoke up the moisture in the mouth.
Stoke up the moisture in the mouth and the Edward will choke. You can quote me on that one. I don't mind being quoted on that in the main 6 chat.
I think I will. Hold up. I think I will do that. But
stoke up the moisture in the mouth and the Edward will choke.
I didn't choke that time. Normally when you choke, it's just when it goes down the eating hole and not the drinking hole. I know they're the same hole, but get caught up on it.
Stoke? Did I say stoke or build? I think I said build the first time then.
The second time you said stoke, I think. Slosh
Yeah,
wait,
I was thinking of the source material.
slosh the moisture in the mouth, and the Edward will choke.
There you go. I have pinned my own
Build up the moisture in the mouth, and the Edward will choke. But yeah, so
that's our new stream quote, because
I think my throat's swelled up, and I wasn't able to talk. That's why I notified Ben, like, I may not be able to make the stream because my voice, I just could not speak. And well, when I did get some actual words out, it really hurt. So I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't.
I did say that to everyone. I said Edward might not be able to join.
Yeah, I was watching the stream, by that I mean I saw that the stream was live, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll just watch it, and then I winded back and looked at the chat. I was like, oh, yeah, yeah. My coughs are kind of weak. This is day 2, by the way, so I don't know whether the side effects are going to get worse or better. I really don't know, but my voice returned, and yeah, I think it's kind of odd because right now there's a level of like unprofessionalism, I suppose. Like, I'm talking softer than I normally am. I'm not bouncing off the walls because I don't want to hurt my voice and stuff like that. And obviously when I joined the stream, I was not my usual self because I'm very like disoriented. I only woke up a little while ago, and man, I was fighting to wake up. I was like, okay, I should really try to make the stream. I was fighting myself in my head. I was like, okay, I've got to wake up. I've got to wake up. And I was gotten to that weird sort of thing. Like, I fought so hard, like, with my subconscious brain. I don't know, maybe weird dreams are a side effect of the thing, but I got into a loop of dreams where I would wake up and it'd be really, really hard to wake up. Like, it physically hurt to like wake up, and then I'd wake up, I'd tear my
wake up,
and then I'd be like, Mom, quick, I need coffee. So in these dreams, I'd be like, Mom, I need coffee, I need to stay awake, and then I'd fall back asleep. But the thing is, I would wake up again. It was a dream. Like, I would go to sleep and keep waking up in dreams. Like, I was asleep. It was like I was asleep. I was dreaming within a dream, within a dream, within a dream, within a dream. It was painful, actually. And then finally, I woke up, and I was like, oh my God, wait, am I actually awake? So I immediately called my mom, and she ran in here and was like, oh, hello, child. And then I was like, wait, are you real? Are you real? And she's like, what are you talking about? Do I need to take you back to the mental asylum? And then I was like, oh man, nightmares, bro. Creepy, like, weirdness. And she was like, oh yeah, I'm real. You're a weird child. And yeah, and it was terrible. And then I immediately requested coffee and biscuits. And then now I'm here. But yeah, guys, just know that I battled my subconscious tooth and nail to be here for you guys. So next time, I don't know. Next time you question whether I care about these streams, remember that
we weren't questioning. In fact, they were more looking forward for you to join the stream than me talking.
I mean, I know. I was just saying, like, if you ever,
I'm just that boring. I'm that boring sometimes.
If you ever do question if I care about these streams, just know I fought my subconscious to get here. And dude, I was so close to just giving, because it was like one of those weird times where you're standing on the brink of being asleep and being awake, where if you just stop trying to wake up, you could easily just slink back into either full-on sleep with a dream or without a dream, you know?
Yeah.
Or you could decide to wake up. And, well, the waking up option was really difficult to get to, but I just kept pushing. I was like, I don't even know how I knew that it was nearly time for the stream, honestly. But my brain just, like, knew. And I was like, oh my God, the stream's about to start. I have to wake up. And
Oh, we can all congratulate Edward on a fantastic effort. You know, Disney should make a film about that. Like, you know, where you constantly wake up and fall asleep again, and there's just this person like in your brain trying to get you to go back to sleep.
yeah, exactly. And you're like, no. And the character's like, no, no, no. We've got to, I've got stuff to do. I can't stay here. And then that slowly, as it progresses more and more, like at first the dreams are all like happy and they're like, come join us in the sleep realm. But the more and more refused, the more angry the dreams get, to the point where by the end they're like sucking you back down into slumber, and you're like
The thing is,
straight up
it
battling.
it does sound like a film Disney would do. Like, you know how they've had like Soul and all that. At this rate, they'll be having Battling Subconscious, the movie.
Battling subconscious. I think it would be called like Dreamscape.
I think that's already a video game.
Well, Dreamscape, the film adaptation.
No, but it's not. It would be a film adaptation about gardening then, because Dreamscape, the video game, is about gardening.
Oh, that's oh. Normally I have a clever joke, but I'm not feeling well, so.
Edward.exe has stopped working.
I am so glad that I made it. Oh, well, apparently I killed the stream also. Maybe they weren't excited to see me, because when I joined the stream chat, there were 6 people watching. Now there's 2.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's see what the chat is talking about. And so, any advice for getting a shoot? Yeah, see everybody, the shot, the shoot. We just can't call it the vacuum cleaner. Yeah, you can. Yeah, any advice for getting the vacuum cleaner? Like,
giving it a new name. Call it the Hoover, because everyone else calls it a Hoover. It's just Americans.
Really? The Hoover, really?
Yes, the Hoover.
I'll be honest, I prefer vacuum cleaner. It's a lot more descriptive of what it is. It creates a vacuum.
When I get told to get the Hoover, I think of, oh yeah, the thing that's in the closet that sucks up stuff off the ground. When I get told to fetch the vacuum cleaner, I'm like, okay, I'll take you to the Kennedy Space Center.
But the vacuum cleaner makes it's more descriptive of what it is. A Hoover, that sounds like a car part to me, or like a car brand. Like, oh yeah, look at my new Hoover. Like a vacuum cleaner. It creates a vacuum and it cleans things. It's more descriptive.
Well, I know that, but it's like, I like the word Hoover so much more.
I guess that's fair. And
it's more fun to say, especially Hoover. If you're like when I was free, like Dad told me that when I was free, I used to say Hoover, but instead of the V, it was a B, and I was frightened of said machine. I'd say, don't bring the Hoover to me.
So BZ Railways says, any advice for getting a Hoover? Well, no, like, the shot. Okay. Before I get into, I guess, my advice, I have to say, just a bit of a story. So the nurse woman who was administering my Hoover.
It just sounds so ridiculous.
Yeah, we don't want to get the stream taken now. But the Hoover.
You're struggling to say the word, aren't you?
No, I'm just coughing. I swear. But yeah, the nurse woman who was administering my Hoover. So to take my mind off of the shot, I just started saying something, like right as the
I watched Top Gear.
Or sorry,
to take Top Gear when I'm getting shot.
To take my mind off the Hoover. I just started like saying something, and the nurse woman gave me the strangest look, And this look will make a lot more sense when I tell you what I was saying. Right as the shot went in, I said, "Long live the Queen, long live the Empire," and I said, "Long live the Queen, long live the Empire, screw democracy and hate," or "God save the Queen, long live the Empire, and screw democracy."
That's probably why. That's probably why you've got all these side effects. They probably like.
And she looked at me, like she looked at me like I was insane. It was very funny, and because I'm a child under the age of 18, she was like trying to being like, "Oh yeah, these side effects, they're totally safe," and I think she was taken off guard by my directness. I was like, "So what are the chances that this vaccination will kill me? Like, what are the chances of death, ma'am?" And she was like, "Oh, the side effects, they're the chance of being hospitalized is very slim." And I was like, "No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I don't want the hospitalization chances. What are the chances I die?"
And what did she say?
She was just like, "The chances are very slim." And then she said, "The chances are very slim, little man." And I was like, what part of the way that I, speak, leads you to believe that I would like to be referred to as a little man? But okay. I really don't think I have that much of a baby face. Anyways, as for advice when getting a shoot, okay, the advice for getting a shoot, a Hoover, you will. Let's see, what would I say my advice is? Don't focus on it. I will say, maybe it was just because I was, embracing the Queen while it was happening. It did not hurt very much. When you're getting the when you're getting the when you're getting the Hoover for the bug, the 2019 bug that is cold, it doesn't hurt very much. The real pain is what happens after. Like the side effects are the real painful part. And I guess I'll say, oh God, I was embracing the Queen while it was happening. It did not hurt very much. Well, the actual Hoover itself.
There you go, Edward. Just quickly have a look at this. What do you think of this shot of Crosby from back here?
I like it. It's like a horizon with the church I like the church. It gives the skyline a unique, building.
A unique building, yes. And it's funny because even though Crosby is centered around the railway, you cannot see the railway station from here.
Yeah, I kind of like it though.
I should probably build that in future. Whenever I want to build a town with like a nice horizon from up on the hill, I should build a station and a line running through it. Build the town around the station, and then get rid of the station and fill it in with some fields or something, just to get this look again.
It's
just a non-railway related town.
I forgot what he's about. Yes, the Hoover. So, and another thing that just makes the pain a lot less, I was not really, of course I was worried. I freely admit, I did record a will in the car on the way there. Not a joke, a legitimate will. I actually divided all of my, my possessions up. I added the actual passwords and, stuff from my accounts and, gave them to, spoiler alert, my YouTube channel went to Dax. If I died. And just in case, because I was not entirely 100% sold on the vaccine. On the Hoover. I'm not anti-Hoover. I'm not anti-Hoover. It's just a it's just a Hoover that was rushed out of the assembly line will not vacuum correctly, if that makes sense. A Hoover that is rushed is not a good Hoover. I'm not anti-Hoover.
It sounds like an alien species.
Yeah, I'm not anti-Hoover. I'm not Hoovsist. But a Hoover that is rushed out of the manufacturing does not vacuum very well. So what do you say if you say that you're gonna use just a tangent really quick? So when my mother's about to vacuum, she says, "Well, Zach, I'm about to vacuum." What do you guys say? I'm about to hoove?
I don't say I'm about to anything. I just say I'm going to hoover the floor.
Oh, so hoover is a verb
and an adjective.
And an adjective. No, wait, not an adjective, a noun.
A noun, a verb. Oh yeah, an adjective's describing, so it wouldn't be. Well, technically, it is a way of describing something. I'm about to hoover. Yeah, I'm about to hoover, or
Welcome back, Skyrider 11 Shifty Face.
In past tense, it's hoovering. What were you doing today? Oh, I was hoovering the lounge. And then,
Wouldn't you say I hoovered the lounge?
I was hoovering. It's either hoovering or hoovered. Like, it depends on how you're feeling when you say it. Because it could be interpreted as either, because it's not.
So basically, the word hoover is a noun and a verb.
Yes.
Interesting. But anyways, back off the side tangent. I actually recorded like a legitimate will on the way just in case. You really never know what happens. I've been meaning to make a will for a long time because, well, the jaws of death are inescapable, and they can come at any moment. So might as well be prepared. Especially in my case. So yeah, I did that. Got the Hoover, and so good advice for getting the Hoover would be expect the worst and prepare for the worst. So that way, what happens feels like it's not expect I'm not even gonna say prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and expect the worst. Meaning that whatever actually does happen to you will feel like mercy compared to your expectations. Like, I walked into it with the idea that I could very easily potentially die, and well, I'm alive at the moment, so that's an improvement from my expectations. So it doesn't feel as bad, like the side effects that I'm experiencing. And also, really, just don't be frightened. Whatever happens, like even if you are, having this really really bad, reaction to it, don't panic. One, because that's going to raise your stress levels. And it's going to make it difficult to battle whatever side effect is happening. And also, it's just not panicking is very important because it will trick your brain. If you don't panic and don't make a big deal about it, then it will trick your brain into thinking there's nothing wrong, which will again help you, combat the potential stress of, scary side effects. And if you do die, which is something that I was happy to keep in mind, if I do die, at least I can be a guinea pig for science, and hopefully my death will assist in like if the vaccine. If the Hoover is actually dangerous, at least my death can serve as a warning for others, because
And every year on the date of the Hoover, it runs again as a warning to others.
What, do I just appear in the hospital and go, "Hey," then disappear? That's just what happens in the corner of that hospital room. on the exact moment of my death. I'm only there for about 3 seconds, and I just appear and go, "Hey," then disappear.
Hey, welcome to the hospital.
Yeah, if there's a ghost in the hospital, that's not a good hospital.
You know, there's what's it called? There was you know the game Project Hospital.
No.
Well, I was watching this guy play it. Like he does like I don't usually play video games, but I like watching people play video games.
So you're a
And I
let's
was,
play. You're a let's play fan, eh? That's what they call the genre of watching people play video games.
okay, I was gonna say, no, but I was watching this guy playing because he likes to play video games wrong. So it's really funny, even if you don't like video games, you just like watching stuff get broken. And in the hospital, he wanted to make the hospital have a 0% cure rate.
A 0% cure rate.
And so
it's a hospital that just kills you.
yes. And before he decided he was going to make his hospital about killing everyone that entered, at first he was diagnosing random people, because basically you can turn it on diagnose yourself mode, where you can diagnose patients, you know, without the game doing it for you. And he diagnosed one of them with everything possible in the book.
Also, by the way, well, goddamn, the government's over here spending so much money on the death penalty. Just chuck people into this hospital.
and it was really funny because only about half an hour into the game, he said, okay, he said, it's been a considerable 24 hours. He said some of our staff have gotten injured. Some of them are still navigating the maze on the 25th floor. And then he said, and good news, even better, we have our own resident ghost now. Definitely what and he said, definitely
what tububer is this?
Let's game it out.
I've never watched this content before.
But it is funny. And he's just like, we've got our own resident ghost now. Definitely what you want your first sight to be when you enter the hospital.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you know how ghosts normally haunt the place that they died. If you walk into a hospital and there's about like 5 ghosts, you should probably go to another hospital.
And he said, and towards the end of the game, he said, okay, cool. We said, we've made a cool $25 million. We made a cool $25 million. Some of our staff members are bleeding and unconscious. And
you know why
patients,
they made so much money? Because all the people they killed, no longer, I mean, they can't do anything with their bank account.
And he said, and many, and throughout every many, we went to different wards on the game. And he said, and many patients died under our watch. So thank you for checking out this video.
Homicide, gentlemen. You
know when you casually just make $25 million from killing everyone who enters your hotel?
Isn't that just like
no, because that's what he did.
Isn't that just every single person who managed a concentration camp in World War II?
But it's like he basically, he's made them skip the line, diagnose them with everything, and then charge them super high prices for all the cures that wouldn't work.
And then killed them.
Yes.
Wait. Then they prescribed the wrong medicine. They like overdose them.
Yeah, that's exactly what was happening in some cases.
Good God.
And sometimes patients got it easy and died just because no doctor actually attended to them because they were too busy killing other patients.
It's just at the point where you know how they have that really long needle that they put in your arm for the IVs.
Right.
It's like at this point at this hospital, you would just be better off jamming the needle in your eye, like the IV needle.
Yeah, it's just
you need moisture. Have it to your brain.
One of the patients in the hospital was not actually sick, and you want to know why?
Why go to the hospital if you're not sick?
because they were visiting one of their family members who had died 2 weeks before, but they didn't know because, they weren't supposed to have, been killed by this point. And they were visiting a family member, and the guy who does the games, like the gameplay things, said, and oh, who are you? And then said, oh God, you're that patient who you're the mother of that patient who died like 2 weeks ago. And then said, come into my office. I've got some news to tell you. And only 5 minutes later, he was saying, right, you now have heart, kidney failure, like heart failure, kidney failure, and all that. It's just diagnosing this poor person off the street who came to visit a family member with everything.
What's that? You're coming to visit your son? You have, your liver has failed. You have lung cancer. Oh, what's that? Do I see a fracture in your skull? Good Lord, sir! I think you inherited some of your son's illnesses when he died. Oh, how did he die? He died with IV needle to the brain, ma'am. But I thought he had cancer. He did, but Dr. Jefferson got to him first. Yes, he did have spinal cancer, but you see, Dr. Jefferson got to him first. God.
Why can I see you creating like a game yourself based upon all this?
See, he was aiming for your son's arm, but he missed ever so slightly and jammed it through his eye and into his brain. He missed ever so slightly. He was aiming for the middle of his, for like the lower end of his forearm, and he missed ever so slightly. Jammed it through his eye, straight into the brain. Killed. I was about to say killed instantly to make you feel better, but here at this hospital, we don't lie. It stuck in his brain for about half an hour as he was screaming painfully. Dr.
And
Jefferson,
we had other patients who were having heart attacks that we definitely didn't just decide that they had.
Exactly. And Dr. Jefferson just didn't know what to do. He could have called for help, but he was just enjoying the show. You know how it is.
It's very rare that one of his patients dies this way.
Yes, very rare that one of his patients dies this way. How do they normally die? Oh, he normally misses, and you see, he missed and slammed the IV into your son's left eye. Only that he is the first patient ever to die with that. 100% of his patients until now have died with an IV needle being slammed through their right eye. You see, he's just very bad at aiming. This is why he's not allowed guns. He can't aim very well. He might actually have a condition as well.
He's always during the
he actually the reason why he's so bad at aiming is because when he was first doing the eye needles test, he missed for the first time by clumsiness, and he jammed it into his own eye. And then he tried again, and he lost his other one. So that's why he's not very good at aiming.
You think that would be like an instant, you're not allowed to work in this hospital, but no.
No. This hospital is in Florida.
Oh, good.
That's the only explanation for the malpractice. But yeah, I would tell you, that your son had a nice, quick, painless death. But yeah, he was there screaming for about an hour and a half, agonizingly. And Dr. Jefferson.
Well, no, it's funny because you said he enjoyed the show.
Yeah. Dr. Jefferson just sat there and enjoyed the show.
He's enjoyed blind, the screen. Obviously. He enjoyed the screams.
Yes, he was sitting there listening, sucking up the beautiful screams of torment and pain, agonizing. And you see, Dr. Jefferson knew that he died when the screams fell quiet.
Oh. And then he officially closed the case and rang up for the next patient.
Wait, immediately after he hears the flatline, that's when he calls for help.
Help! I need
You can still
a
technically be
cleaner.
brought back after you flatline. So the dude flatlines. He waits for about 15 minutes just to make sure there's no chance that he lived. Then he's like, "Oh my God, nurses, help!"
How long do you think it would be until the mother called, like, the police or something? Actually, no, just administrate her to the hospital as well.
It's like, this is pretty fucked up. I think I'm gonna call the police. And then the dude's like, the receptionist is like, so stop. That woman's mentally ill. She also has spinal cancer. Quick, administer to her room. And then the hospital security just walk up, drag her away. She's like, no. And then there's one dude from the outside who just looked in and saw this happen. And he turns away and he's like, oh God, I'm not going in there. Then he turns away. So then the receptionist's like, oh crap, he's seen what we're doing. Presses a button. And then the dude just gets, like, one of the snipers, this from the hospital security, just shoots him dead. And he's like, he had a brain tumor, and we were trying to shoot the brain tumor to get it out. Quick, hide that body.
just like the worst and most inept bunch of staff ever.
One dude's like, he comes in with a sore throat, and he's like, the dude's like, you know what, you need throat surgery, but we really don't have the money to
so we're going to diagnose you with amputating of your arms.
You need throat surgery, but we don't have money for anesthesia. Just jams knife into his neck. Like, rips out his voice box.
Either that or, they could just say, yeah, we'll amputate your arms instead. If
the dude rips out his voice box, so that dude's obviously dead because he just got a knife jammed into his throat. So then he's like, now we can help Mr. Muterson. He's mute. So they walk over, he's mute, and then they jam a knife into his throat, rip the front of the skin off, insert the voice box, and then the dude's like, and then he's like, obviously he's in pain, and then the only sound he gets to make is, Wah! Then he dies, and then he's like, well, at least he got one sound out of those things before his spinal cancer killed him. This is the worst hospital ever. Hey, see, this is the only Florida's the only place in the world where this hospital could exist. Skyrider 11 Shifty Face says, me be like, I diagnose you with a pickaxe to the face. And then, like, sir, I diagnose you with a gunshot wound to the chest. Wait, what are you talking about? And then the dude's like, Boris? And then the dude just, like, shoots him.
And then he says, the only medication we have is death.
The only medication we have is being buried 6 feet under the ground.
That should clear up your head.
What's the word? So the separation from oxygen should open up your chest a bit. And then they check back in on them in a couple of days, and you know how maggots will eat the corpses.
Oh God, Edwin, I don't want to think about.
No, they open it up, and then there's a hole in his chest with maggots just chilling. Like, yep, that chest has definitely been exposed.
You took this too dark. This went from being a light-hearted jab at hospitals to
light-hearted jab at hospitals. Got back to jamming the knife into the neck of a patient.
No, that's what I mean. It started off from me just like telling you like about this hospital thing, and then you started like.
To be fair, the hospital thing killed quite a lot of people and had a 0% like cured patient. Literally every patient that walked into that hospital did not walk out to the point where even some of the staff began to die. The staff got sick and were admitted to the hospital and then died as well.
No, when they ran out, when they killed off the whole city, they just said, right, we've only got staff members left. What should we do? I know, diagnose the staff members. Hey, you, Jerry, stop mopping. You're sick now. You have a headache, but we're going to diagnose you with like all of this stuff.
It's like, you have a headache now, grabs the mop and bonks him over the head with it. Like, ow, my head. Then it's like, oh my God, he has spinal cancer and liver failure.
No, he has a fractured.
Admit him
He
to
has
the
a fractured
hospital.
foot. He has a fractured foot. Take him to trauma.
To trauma. The only cure is being strapped to the tracks.
And the express is 1 minute away from you.
Yep. What is this? This is like the friggin' Wild West. There were only a few instances of people, being tied down to tracks. I believe there was only 3, and one of them was in the East and not the West. Also, cowboys kind of operated a lot more like local lords in the United Kingdom, in the sense that people who lived on their land would do as they were told by them, and then they would be the ones to collect taxes and give them back to the government. But at the same time, they didn't just work for the government. They also worked for just whoever would pay them the most for a job. They were kind of like mercenaries mixed with lords. Cowboys. And it was not very often that people agreed to duels. Like, different cowboys would agree to duels because, well, they could die, and why duel somebody when you could just walk up behind them when they were not expecting it and shoot them? Also, laws still existed. Like, if you did that in the middle of a saloon, everybody in the saloon would jump you and restrain you.
Instead of just, like, hiding behind.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of hiding behind the tables. Like, it's like, oh, shit, cowboy just entered. Everyone, quick, behind the table. There'd be a couple of people, like, I admit, like, maybe the women and children would hide behind the tables, but you know that, like, the lads, like, if there were, like, a lot of men in the saloon, no. There's no way they're just cowering.
Imagine if you just enter ready to shoot someone and then you suddenly see that half of the bar are ready to take you down. And you're like, okay, I'll come back on Monday, bye.
Yeah, I'll come back later.
I'll come back on Monday when everyone's gone to work.
And then the dude's like, who he went to assassinate, is like, oh, well, looks like I'm safe. He looks out the window and sees the cowboy out the window, and he does the eye thing where the cowboy points at his eyes and then points back at him.
Yeah.
I'm watching you. And then he just slinks down. Like not walking away, he just goes down under the window. And then there's just the dude outside who watches him awkwardly bend under the window and then crouch and walk away before, standing back up and then actually walking. The Wild West was not very wild. Duels didn't happen very often. Cowboys were a lot more like lords, but at the same time, they would still, like, kill people. But they would be more like assassins in the sense of how they'd kill people. They wouldn't just walk up and be like, let's duel.
I hate how all the good house models, like the good, really detailed house models for trains, are American. It's really annoying.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with American houses. They don't look too different.
Sodor is British.
I know, but they don't look too different.
Yeah.
That looks like that is an awkward looking house. It looks like a house you'd find in Queens, but houses in Queens don't get driveways because no one owns cars.
And then there's also a brick version, like a red brick version.
That is a very awkward looking house. Also, there's no door directly to the driveway. Look.
Yeah,
you have to come out the front door, then walk all the way around.
Or the back.
There's no driveway door.
Or the back.
What?
or the back.
Oh, yeah. I guess that works. Yeah, that's like the most strange looking. That's weird.
See, I
That's
told you
not.
the detail. Oh wait, there's this one. This one looks
It's not how
semi.
houses work, at least in America.
This is a weird house as well. It's like 2-story in one section almost, because it's like a basement.
Oh wow, that's a nice house actually.
It's nice, but it looks very awkward with like the split.
Actually, oh, I know what type of house this is. Right in there, there's a staircase because part of the first story of the house is underground.
Yeah,
It's
and
like one of those half. My mother wanted a house like that.
just looks
Kind of.
very awkward
But
almost.
it wouldn't be as drastic, and it would be a step down into the living room. But well, she never got it because I mean it'd be pretty hard for me to get into the living room. Very interesting looking house though. That's really nice though. That's pretty swanky.
I don't know. Should I save them for like a bit of Sodor?
Yes. Those are cool houses.
Right, I'll put them in that farm for now, along with this brick office, because I like the look of that.
You got to put those in a swanky neighborhood though.
Sudbury. No, not Sudbury, because that's like the capital.
Big swank.
But where could these go that they'd fit?
Vickerstown.
No, why Vickerstown?
Well, I would think that Vickerstown would be kind of swanky. I like to think of Vickerstown as like trying to find a British city comparison that would work.
It's the London of Sodor.
No, it'd be Sudbury.
Sudbury isn't massive though; it's tiny.
Well, no.
Sudbury. I like to think that Sudbury was the capital until Vickerstown got like double its.
You don't just move the capital.
Yeah, you can do that.
No, but that's no. You don't. No.
And then it becomes the new capital of England.
No. Oh my god. One of Henry's cats died.
A moment of silence for the feline. Why is everyone in the community's cats dying all of a sudden?
I feel like this is just the year of pet death. Like this general 2020.
Because
2021.
Vinny.
Yeah.
Yeah, his cat died. His cat got hit by a car.
Oh my god.
He'd only been with it for about 10 months, I think it was, and then the cat just went onto the road and got hit.
Well, at least it was only 10 months and not like 10 years. I mean, well, of course, that doesn't change the fact that one of your friends is dead, but like, I wouldn't, this is going to sound horrible, but I wouldn't be as sad if somebody that I met yesterday died than somebody that I've known for like 10 years. You know?
Well, I mean, I think Vin got that cat as a replacement for the previous cat that got killed.
No, you can't say replacement like that. That's so bad. You could have at least said to fill the void in his heart.
Well, you know me, I'm not an animal person. I don't know what to say in those things.
My dog got hit by a car.
Didn't he, like...
He lived, obviously.
I was just going to say, I think it would be kind of scary if you said he died and I've been, like, talking to a ghost, seeing a ghost this whole time on the camera.
He survived with what we believe is minor to moderate brain damage.
Is that why Woody walks backwards every time he's happy to see you?
That only happened once, and it was weird. it's
I remember
happened.
I remember when you sent the message saying, "Hey guys, I think my dog is broken."
Yeah, I don't think that he walked away from that car accident perfectly fine, because he did take a tumble and bonk his head, on a car that was going about 30 miles per hour. So, oh my God, that was one of the only times where there have been very few times where my life flashes before my eyes, and that was one of them. But it wasn't my life itself. It was like all the time that I've spent with Woody, you know,
Yeah.
like flashing before my eyes. Because the thing is, my heart sank when I watched it happen. Because see, the angle that I was at, I couldn't see when the impact happened. Like, I didn't see the impact, but I saw the speed that the car was going. I saw the speed that Woody was going, and I knew that they would collide for about a good full-on second before it happened. So for that split second, I just, all of it sat through, like, it was like time slowed down. So many thoughts ran through my head at that second. Like I said, like, flashing through all the times that I'd spent with, all the time that I've spent with with Woody before, and then just wondering, what do I do? Do I start getting up? I mean, I'm disabled, and I can't. It's not like even if I wasn't, I wouldn't be able to catch up with him. But like, do I get up? Do I yell? What do what do I like? What do I do? You know?
Yeah.
Because like in that moment, I was like, okay, yeah, time is kind of slowing down because dramatic moment is happening. It's like there's not like I could. It's not like I could even call out for him at this point because there's only about a second until impact. It's like, what do you do in that situation? And I just sat. I yelled for a second, then I sat because there wasn't really anything that I could do. And then I heard the impact, and then I got up, and I was like, oh no, oh God, that was scary. But it was very odd. It just was woof 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 woof, and then he ran. Like, he got up instantaneously and ran. Very strange. Normally, if a dog is, which was good because normally if a dog is injured, hit by a car, then it won't move.
Yeah.
But he was getting up, he was running around, he was terrified, actually. I was a bit frustrated with my mother because she came down and was like, "Oh my God, did the car hit me?" Because apparently she said, from down, she was at our house and we were down the street, and she said from up there it sounded like metal on metal, like metal to metal crunch. And as you know, I'm in a walker, so she thought I was it, and it was very annoying to me because like, I don't think she cares about my dog, because afterwards she gave me a hug while Woody was running around, and I was like, dude, I'm not, I didn't get hit by a car. um you know and then she protests that as, oh, he was running around, he's fine. uh, he was he was hit by a car. Do you really think he'd stay in the same place if he had the ability to move? Seriously.
Yeah.
So I was so pissed, and still am, really. But he seemed to be fine. But ever since then, he has exhibited the strangest behaviors ever. He doesn't really respond to his name as much. He, like, I really don't know, but I think it may have knocked something loose in his brain, which I don't know how to feel about. You know what I mean? Like, I wish I
Mhm.
could just ask him, because if he could talk and then suddenly he just started speaking French, then I'd know, oh shit, so your brain got messed up. You know, no dog of mine will be speaking French in this household.
When just gets involved in an accident. Oh my God, Woody, are you okay? And then he's just like, Mamma Mia. And
Turns
you're
around
like,
and he's like, "Oh, Shante," and then I'm like, "Oh God, get out of here."
I mean,
Wait. I'm like, "Oh my God, Woody, are you okay?" He's on the ground. He turns to me and goes, "Oh, Shante," and then I just push him back under the car. Ew, get away from me.
or you could teach him to English.
Oh well, he doesn't. He doesn't have amnesia because he responds to
Yeah, but I
his.
mean, like, if he could speak French, then surely you could teach him to speak English.
I mean, yeah, both languages are built on Latin, so. But yeah, very very interesting behaviors. Skyrider 155 said that he could have amnesia, but I don't think that's true because he does respond to his name. It's just sometimes it takes a second. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like you have to call him a couple of times. Very interesting. I really don't know what's up with him. I think he's just crazy. Like I think so. I think he did get minor to moderate brain damage. Obviously, it's not severe. Otherwise, he'd be doing next level weird stuff. But
Like starting to karate everybody on the street.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
The next level weird stuff. Yes, he'll be karateing people on the street.
And I think maybe he does have some sort of damage because for a little while he did kind of like avoid the street, but then a couple days ago he was just waltzing in the middle of the street. And we were like, "Have you learned nothing? Did you learn nothing from that one time you literally spit on Death's face? Are you an idiot?" Like, something's. Yeah, I don't think he's. I don't think he is the same dog. Which kind of sucks.
I was just reading Skyrider's messages. He says the best police force, the Sky PD. Instead of tasers, we use rail guns. So instead of slightly hurting a human, we blow it into smithereens.
Good Lord. Way to detain someone. Sir, stop right there. No, you'll never catch me, copper. And then, bang, you just destroy the entire... You just destroyed the entire city block, including the shop that the robber stole from.
Completely defeating the purpose of
the police.
Stopping the robber in the first place.
Yeah. Something there's a certain crime that is no longer acceptable. So, back in the day, a very long time ago, people would steal food and it was a bad crime. You could die for it. But you could at least
sent to Australia.
Yes, exactly. But you can at least understand why they did it. There was no other place to get food, and they're poor, and they have a family. Like I understand why they stole it. But nowadays, people will steal food, and it's like there is no excuse. You do need to go to jail or die for that, because now there are homeless shelters which will give you free food and a place to stay, free of charge.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they'll kick you out if you stay too long without getting a job, because they'll be like, they'll host you until you can get a job. But then you could just go to another one and say, "Hi, I've never been to a homeless shelter before. Will you take me in?" And then they'll be like, "Oh, okay." And there is no excuse to steal food now. They've got decent food too. They've got soup. They've got beans. They've got steak. It's like it's a good place actually. I mean, that's honestly in a lot of cases that's better than what you could do for a starter house, and that kind of does worry me in a way because what is this telling people? This is basically just telling people that it's okay to be lazy and just be a freeloader and not get houses. Honestly, I think these homeless shelters need to tone it down a little bit Like, I get being, giving people a place to stay so they can get a job. But if you make the place where you stay so nice, then they're not going to want to get a job. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to intentionally make it a little bit crap.
Or just say, like, once you get, like, you need to get a job after a certain amount of time.
But that's the thing. If you say that, then they'll just go to another shelter because there's so many.
Yeah.
There are so many now, and they all treat everybody so well. It's like, guys, I generosity is good and all, but you got to just not give them good food. I don't know, maybe pee in the soup or something. I don't know.
Hang on a second. Skyrider says, what if I upgrade our police force? Oh no. Oh god.
Railgun machine version.
Machine version, and it fires rockets from a side gun. Okay, I think that's a little bit over the top for the police.
I don't know how you're going to afford that. You're going to need to get the Democrats to refund the police, but that won't happen.
No, you just go to a police meeting with the people who pay for it all, and you're just like, okay, what do you need for this? What do you need for this month? For this month on this month's budget.
Sorry, the police don't get money anymore.
I know, but I mean, like, say if they did, it'd just be like, can we have like a cool 20 million? Why? Why do you need 20 million? To buy some rail guns and with rockets attached to them. Oh, okay, sure. Wait, hang on a second.
See, here's the thing about the police, though. I agree with giving the police some high power weapons, to do to secure security.
Secure security.
Railguns are like the most ineffective things ever because one, you either need a turntable to fire them, and if you're on the run, like chasing somebody, that's not gonna really work. And then if you fire them on a curve, which is easier to make a curve, but you still only have a 90 degrees that you can turn the aim thing, and you need to be a certain distance away from your target because railguns aren't like short range little pew pew guns. These are heavy artillery
that are designed to shoot hospitals down, like Peter.
Whoa. They're designed to shell. Like, these are some long range artillery. The biggest railgun in the world could chill in northern France, a couple miles from the coastline, and shell English cities. Literally. Think about that. Think about the power that would be necessary to shoot that far.
Well, simple. Wait. Sit the railgun down in France. Wait until the police officer comes nearer to the border, and then shoot. And then just hope. Just hope that you get them.
Strike range. All right, we're trying to shoot a single man. What's our strike range? The entire city of Southampton.
Done. Fire.
But it's not like it will destroy the entire city. It's just like the fluctuation. Like, how muskets were not very accurate. Like, you had to shoot in a general direction and just hope that it hits.
And hope for the best.
Exactly. It's like that. It's like the railguns can only destroy like a building to a block, like a full city block at most. So
you try and aim for a person that you can't even see.
Exactly. We're trying to kill one singular person, and what's our area of fluctuation? The entire city.
Done. We need this person arrested pronto.
Railguns are quite inefficient in high run chase. But seriously, I was about to say something that would get me very canceled on Twitter.com. So I won't say it. But I am no Nazi supporter. But oh God, okay. How do I word this?
What have you gotten yourself into now?
How do I word this in a way that will make me not look like a Nazi sympathizer? Okay. I don't like Nazi practices, and I don't really, obviously I don't approve of what they did. I admit they ran a tight ship, but they ran a tight bad ship.
Maybe you should.
But one thing that I truly love and just I think is amazing and that I will always respect is the Nazi engineers. Because these guys were the most creative, insane people. On, especially later in the war when they got desperate, they just made some next level shit. There was like, what if we just made this tank but bigger?
I
Because
mean,
later in the war, when the Nazis got more desperate, they let their engineers build more and more crazy things. And it's like, I love the Nazi engineers because they built things in the 1940s that nobody would even think about until these ages. Like, for example, railguns. Until that point, had only been used for, like, you'd put them in the back of the field where you were fighting and just hope for the best. Or you'd put them on a hill and shell a city. But nope, these guys were decided, let's build a rail. Remember, the range of these things was about 5 miles, so 6 to 7 kilometers, which is, I admit, decent. But they sat there and were like, let's make a railgun big enough and strong enough to chill 1 or 2 miles, or I guess 3 or 4 kilometers. No, 3 kilometers. Into the French coast, and make something that can shell English cities. And
from over the hills and far away.
Yeah, exactly. Over the hills and far away, railgun will shoot, and I don't know. Over the hills and far away, the railgun.
So over the hills and far away, our railgun will shoot. You better start to pray.
Exactly. Over the hills and far away, our railgun will shoot. You'd best start to pray. But I honestly, I love the Nazi engineers. They were the coolest. I don't like I said, I don't like the Nazis, but their designs were so cool. They were so good. The engineering behind them is incredible for the times. Oh man, like I said, I really like history, and I really like learning about the different technology that they used, and to get a better understanding of a war or some great event. When you look at it, it's like, yeah, the Russians and the Germans, they were very their fighting was very harsh because their armies were, both, formidable, and they were going against each other, and it's, difficult and stuff. But why was it difficult? It's like, and then somebody would look at that and go, oh, well, the Soviet army was so much bigger, no wonder they won eventually. But the rate, you got to look.
It's just looking at the more behind the scenes things, and why this happened, why was it done, what was it for?
Yeah, exactly. Why did the Soviet army win eventually? But it's like, but if our Soviet army was so much bigger, then why did they? Then why was it so difficult for them to win? And then you look at it, it's because the German army was focused on quality over quantity. They had the Panzers, and the thing is, you look at the conditions of each country, and you can see why they adapted to this approach. The Soviet Union had vast amounts of resources and iron and stuff, but the invasion was kind of unexpected and blitzkriegish, so they didn't have a lot of time to put quality into their tanks. The German army was the Germans were very, very limited on resources, which is part of the reason why they needed to invade so many countries so quickly to get resources. And so they put their tanks into quality over quantity. So it's not just, oh yeah, the Soviet army was bigger, so they won. It's, the Soviet tanks had more tanks, but they were less quality than the Germans. Germans had less tanks, but their tanks were higher quality. But then you can look even further into that, like, why? Why were they like this? Because obviously, if each nation had the time, they weren't just lazy. If they had the time, the Soviets would want more tanks, obviously, like the advantage in numbers that they had, but they would want tanks that are formidable and dangerous. And the Germans would want tanks that are quality, but they would want more. It was simply that they just did not have the resources to do those things. The Soviets didn't have time to make quality tanks, and the Germans didn't have resources. they were opposite each other, which is why they were so back and forth. The Soviets had numbers, the Germans had quality. And mind you, they were the exact opposite problem. And I mean the exact opposite problem in the sense of the German tanks were very, very good. But the fact is, they literally did not have the numbers. Like, there were just gaps in their tank divisions, which is pretty bad. And meanwhile, the Soviet tanks were so crap that they were breaking down left, right, and center mid battle. Like, it was really bad. Like, the Soviet tanks were crap. But they had they had so many. Like, it's a joke how many they were. Like, you know how the amount of BR class 08s that were made by British Railways?
996 of them.
Yeah, 996. Yeah, that's just a meme basically in the railway community. It's just a joke. Like a little shunter was made. So many of them were made. It's basically the same thing with the Soviet tanks, but on an even bigger scale. They were crap. They were lemons. They were just the worst things. But there was a lot of them.
I mean, there was nothing wrong with the 08s. They were quite successful.
That's true. They were very successful. But the Soviet tanks, there was a lot of them, and they were really, really bad. And of course, so everybody's like, oh, the Soviets won because, they were lucky or whatever, or because they had more skill. They didn't, and, they didn't even win by the numbers. They were, in a lot of aspects, the Germans and the Soviets were very equal because their problems were the opposites of one another. And really the only thing, there were two reasons why the Germans lost and Operation Barbarossa was a failure. Number one, the famous meme that everybody loves to talk about, the winter. You know how it is. And then there was the one other thing that gave them a problem. They ran out of resources. They just could not produce any more tanks. They ran out of money. They ran out of resources. They ran out of men. And then, see, when D-Day happened, it was just, that was the last nail in the coffin. They were already spreading their army thin. And then they had to pull over half of their already thinned out resources, including their incredibly limited panzers on the Eastern Front, had to be pulled away to face the United Kingdom, the USA, and the rest of the empire in the West. It wasn't that everybody says that it was, everybody says that it was very worrying, that, like, the Soviets were pushing back the Germans on the Eastern Front by themselves, whereas on the Western Front, the Allies had a bunch of people and they were still kind of struggling to make progress. The reason why that was the case wasn't because, the Soviets were super strong. It was because the Germans on the Eastern Front were broken. They were destroyed. They didn't have enough money or resources to continue. Men were dying in the field, not just from cold, not just from, like, hypothermia, but from lack of food. Supply trains were cut. It was crap. Like, you would not have wanted to be a German soldier during the latter half of Operation Barbarossa. It wasn't because the Soviets were strong. It was because the Germans were broken. And that's why Hitler, everybody's like, oh, well, what would have happened if Hitler won and stuff. And that's true. Hitler was very, very, very close to winning. The closest time that he was ever to winning was the Battle of Britain. But the RAF put an end to that.
Because the RAF are frequent flyers and are the best.
Exactly. Without us frequent flyers, your life would be poorer. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, the RAF put a stop to that. The United Kingdom stood directly in between a German victory and freedom. Winston Churchill was not exaggerating, and I think the British people knew that, which is why they fought so hard. Besieged in their own island, they stuck out and they won. That was one thing that Hitler just didn't really account for, I guess. Well, that's the thing. He did account for it. He thought that after France died, then Britain would sue for peace and just let them do what they wanted to do. But Britain just stuck it out there, like, in their island, like, yeah, what you gonna do, bitch? We're over here separated by water. Come and get us. And then the Germans were like, oh, I mean, oh, Scheiße, we are not going to be able to get them.
And then
And
they had to draw up another plan to try and figure out what on earth they were going to do, but it was too late.
Exactly. Germany was really dead in the water from the beginning, not because the Allies were just better than them. Hitler very easily could have taken over the world if he played his cards right. Very easily if he played his cards right. For example, declaring war on the sea, he very easily could have won if he didn't declare war on the Soviet Union.
He could have very easily won if he'd paid attention to Squarespace, and this is today's sponsor.
God damn it. Honestly, he could have very easily won if he paid attention to Skillshare. Because on Skillshare, he would have found classes on how to take over countries and much, much more. That brings me on to our sponsor for today's stream, Skillshare. No. I mean Manscaped. I mean NordVPN. I mean ExpressVPN.
NordVPN, you can stay hidden in your bunker for the rest of your days.
I mean Manscaped.
Anyway, yes, continue. Sorry, I just had to do that.
It's fine. I get it. Hitler very easily could have won if he played his cards differently. For example, invading the Soviet Union right after they finished off Poland. Or, and then taking out the Soviets before moving on to the Allies. Or, taking out France and then the United Kingdom. Actually, really, that probably wouldn't have worked. Basically, just, kill the Soviets, and then turn around and face the West. Because if he could have put all of his resources into the Eastern campaign, he would have won. The Soviet Union, when, by the time Operation Barbarossa reached its latter half, I'm talking a lot about how the Germans, were broken and scattered just on the Eastern Front. The Soviets were so close to death. So close. All the same problems that I'm saying was happening to the Germans, same thing for the Soviets, except, like I said, opposite problems. Their tanks were dying, and in, the German case, the supply trains, were getting stopped. In the Soviets case, so many people and civilians had died, there weren't enough people to man the supply trains. The Soviet Union almost collapsed. But, like I said, they just kind of kept on with their good old buddy, the winter. Their greatest ally, apparently. It stopped Napoleon, stopped stopped King Charles of Sweden. Yeah, it stops everyone. But yeah, Hitler very easily could have won World War II if he played his cards differently. But he didn't. But the story that you hear traditionally about just bravery and stuff, which is in part true in a lot of cases, but there's a lot of things that were also behind that technology-wise. Everybody's,
it's actually quite a fascinating bit, like looking at all the technology that the different countries use and, worked with.
Exactly, and why certain things happened the way they did. Like, a lot of people, like I said, just think that, the Russians, and the Germans were equally matched in the sense that, their armies were about the same in size and power and stuff like that. And,
but no, it was different. It was different to World War I because they had more machines of different varieties to play with.
Exactly. In the World War I, really only the British had a tank for quite a majority of it, the Mark V. So, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. The tanks that the United Kingdom used in World War I are very interesting, but the thing is, they didn't have much competition when it comes to tanks because they were the only nation with them for a significant majority of the war. And of course, there's a sense that, but there is something very interesting to look at the British tanks during World War I. It was the birth of the tank. People were still wondering, is the tank the question that the military leaders were asking the engineers and asking themselves is the tank a support? Should the tank be used in the support role to the infantry, like the average rifle is like equipment that the infantry use, should it be used in the support role of an infantry, or is the tank effective enough to basically just
be its own thing?
Exactly. That was the question on everybody's mind. And that's why the tank, like, I'm making it sound like the British had an overwhelming advantage. But no, the British tanks in World War One didn't really change their didn't really change their fighting style because they were really shitty with their tanks.
Well, they were essentially like the first generation, and that's
exactly. It was like dipping their toes in the water, which is so Britain really didn't have that much of an advantage with their tanks because they were still figuring out how to use their tanks.
And it's because of that experimentation why World War II was a lot different.
Exactly. They laid the groundwork for things like the Panzer and the Churchill and the T-38. They were still figuring it out, which, like I said, is why it's still very, like, it's not like there's nothing to say about the British tanks in World War One, because it lays the foundation for how tanks would be used in World War Two.
And it's like, I'm not a tank expert like Edward is, but like I know a bit of the history of more of that side of things. I do more of the other machinery. I do know quite a bit. I like how we're just being we're being like history teachers.
It's good
on
fun.
a street trains as usual, which doesn't it's not a problem. It's lovely. I like it.
It's cool. They get to have relaxing.
I hope everyone else is enjoying this.
They have like relaxing visuals of you building a stream, and they get to learn something along the way, which I hope they have. I hope they enjoy. I hope they think learning is fun. But I mean, I really don't know. But they get to learn something along the way and hopefully have fun. So I think that's fun because I mean there are 5 people watching the stream and we're entertaining them, but we're also hopefully teaching them something as well, which I think there's something special in that. But anyways, moving on from the German versus Soviet battle in the East during Barbarossa. Yeah, you probably noticed that I haven't really said anything on the British tanks themselves, on the sense of aside from World War One, and that's because, sorry to say this, for especially talking about the United Kingdom because I love it in all things, the British World War II tanks are incredibly boring, and let me explain that before Ben attacks me for hating on Britain. The tank, like with the Soviet Union, they have an interesting quirk. Each tank had something interesting about it. The Soviet Union tanks were crap. They were lemons. They were some of the worst things on the battlefield.
Breaking down, which is the one interesting thing about them.
Exactly, but they had something to them. Like they had quantity. They had a humongous difference in quantity over quality, and I don't think that I can. There is not a way to understate how bad the T-38 actually is. It is so bad. Like the metal
it's essentially the salt mercure of the ground.
The oh my god. There was even a time where a significant amount of them, the metal used to create them, was not fully processed. It was bad. But there was one thing that, like I said, just before I go into the British tanks, because that just made me think of an interesting thing that I should probably say as well. One of the reasons why the Germans had such an overwhelming disadvantage when it comes to like they had quality over quantity is in part due to the engineers, like what I was saying before. The Germans were innovating with their tanks so fast that they didn't have a time to normalize parts. Like ground repairs were very, very difficult because, they would be coming out with a new tank like every other week. They went from the Panzer I in the beginning of the war to the Panzer VI, like before the halfway point, and it was not good.
And the thing is, they should have done like standardization kind of thing.
Exactly. It was like British Railways when that was one thing that was good about British Railways. They standardized the parts. And the RAF, I mean, well, I'll talk about that. I'll talk about the Brits in a minute.
So all of a sudden, you could have 9 F parts being used on like a standard 2.
Exactly. The Germans did not have this because they were innovating so fast. You know, they didn't standardize their parts, and it got really difficult for ground repair because all these different tanks would be working in tandem. And in the Soviet lines and in a lot of other countries, tanks, if something broke on one tank, another tank could donate their part if it was working. Like if there were two broken down tanks and they were right next to each other, and one part of one tank was broken, and then there was another part of another tank that was broken, and
Then
like,
if you trade,
yeah, well, not a trade because the other one still would be losing a part.
well, I
But
know, but like
they
you
could
know,
get they could take that part and insert it into the other tank and it would work again because it's standardized. The Germans did not have this, which is another reason why they were losing so many of their what little tanks they already had, because there was not enough part standardization. Tanks would break and then they'd be fucked because there wouldn't be another tank on the battlefield with that part that they could borrow. And certainly if there was one, they wouldn't be close enough where they could exchange them.
you'd have to like travel to the complete opposite end just to say, "Hey, can I borrow something?" No, sorry, we ran out. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. And by the time that you got there, their tank would already be gone, just blown up.
It just wouldn't have made it that far to go and ask for the part.
Yes. So yeah, that was a problem. Whereas the Soviets had the exact opposite problem because they were just building one of the exact same tank over and over and over and over. So parts were so standardized that there became an overabundance of them to the point where it was ever so slightly annoying.
The thing is with them is that they built a very standardized tank, but this standardized tank kept breaking down.
Yep, it was
And
trash.
essentially meaning that they were kind of useless. Like from the start, like it's just like they had the ability to swap parts, but they were still rubbish.
Exactly. And the good thing about the Soviets were like they knew their tanks were crap to the point where a lot of tanks, like they would find the parts on their tanks that broke down the most, and then they would just send off a crew with extra of those parts. Like just in case either another tank near them breaks down and they've lost all their spares, or like, their tank breaks down. And you think that, multiple of them would be, oh, so you can have one replacement for yourself and one for the other tanks. No, these tanks would break down so often that they would actually expect you to need 3 spares. But yeah,
And it's like that's like what you were saying, like in depending on how like how it's like how you said they've got the opposite to each other. It's like the Germans had not as many tanks, but they were very interchangeable. But then the Soviet, well, no, they weren't interchangeable, were they? The German ones. I'm
no,
trying
they
to
were
remember.
they barely had anything that was actually
Yeah, that's
working
what I
on
mean.
another.
They had so few tanks that weren't interchangeable, but then the Soviets had a numerous amount of tanks, a humongous amount of tanks that had interchangeable parts, but they
You're
just
also
didn't
forgetting
last.
that, and the other thing that makes them complete opposites is the German tanks were quite good, like very good,
Yeah, they were
and
very good, but they just, like
weren't enough, and
yeah,
they weren't standardized. They barely ever broke down, but that doesn't. But they
it
barely ever
doesn't mean
broke.
when they did that they were easily meant.
Exactly, and not to mention, it doesn't matter whether your tank broke down on its own. Whether or not, because a full on tank shell flying towards your tank is gonna break something, regardless of if the tank breaks on its own. See, the Soviet tanks would just break down on their own, sometimes not even under stress of battle. They would just break down on their way to the battle. It was pretty bad. Yeah, they had the exact opposite problem, which is why I think the German versus Soviet Union fight is so interesting. Because by the end, they were both so broken and so destroyed. I honestly believe that if the Allies didn't invade to stop the battle, their fight would have gone on to the point where the soldiers were just fighting with their hands. There was actually a point in the war where they were fighting with just their hands. Because, oh, one moment.
Oh, okay. Oh yes, I hope Everyone's enjoying the little history lesson.
I'm back.
Oh, I can follow it.
I forgot what I was saying.
You were talking about the tanks.
Oh yeah. There was a point in the battle where they really were just down to their hands because, like I said, supply trains on the Soviet side were difficult because there just were not enough people to get those supply trains. Because the Germans had killed so many of the Soviet population, and the Germans were just having trouble keeping up their supply trains because of the limited number of like when I said the same when I'm talking about the tanks and how there were few of them, I mean the same thing for armored vehicles and transport things. Like they didn't break down, but there weren't many of them, and with an army the size of the one that they were using to wreck the Soviets, it was not good. And also the weather obviously was kind of bogging them down. So there was a point in a certain area of the battle where the Soviets couldn't get supplies, neither could the Germans, where they just couldn't, to the point where they and when I mean not like they couldn't get supplies, I mean ammunition for their rifles. So they got down into 16th century fighting. It was straight up down to bayonet versus saber. Because yes, this was a time like at the very end of when soldiers would actually carry swords on them as well as guns. Like in a lot of and quite a few of them didn't actually have swords. The war became a fist fight for a minute,
which is kind of funny to think about. Really, it's like
there are a lot of people who are scarred, like survivors of the war, because when you're firing a gun at a distant enemy in an already loud battle, you can't hear them scream. You just see them plop on over. When you're firing a tank, you don't see the guys on the inside. But when you're actually in front of one another, beating each other to death, you can hear their screams. You can see their blood. You can watch the life slip out of their eyes as they fall.
Which is it's just like it shows you like the atrocity of what can
and
happen.
even more scary, it was quiet. Just down to man to man. No fancy gadgets, no toys, no guns. Just natural men. Just they could see each other, they could see the fear in everyone's eyes, but if they didn't kill them, then they were going to get killed. It was just like it was when the enemy and enemy saw each other. They really saw each other. And a lot of them either just couldn't do it and took their own life because they were conflicted. Because on one hand, these are the people who have, broken, crippling, on the side of the Soviets, these are the people who had crippled their home, killed 27 million of their people and shrunk their population to the point where over 50% of their population was gone, dead by the hands of German soldiers. Whereas on the German side, these are the people who would potentially cost them everything. They were getting bogged down here. They knew the Allies on the other side in the West were planning something. This could be the end. They could lose it all. That confliction, they hatred. But at the same time, when you look at them in the eyes, when you see your fellow man who you're really fighting, it makes you not want to kill them. So a lot of people just couldn't deal with the confliction and took their own life.
Which is just like another thing with like the more modern war thing, because you can't see everyone, and you're just like, oh yeah, it's just this and this and this. But then when you're actually there, eye to eye, it kind of changes a few things.
Exactly. Just the bear brawling. I honestly would love to watch that battle from a distance. Just see the way that it changes the soldiers' behavior, because man to man, looking them in the eyes as they're looking at your opponent in your eyes as you're fighting, but also knowing what you're fighting for must have been such an awkward, disturbing thing. But at the same time, it's something that they really can't think about until afterwards, because in the moment, someone's coming at you with their fist with an intent to kill you. Their primal instinct must have taken over. People bashing each other's skulls into the ground, beating each other till there's really nothing left, honestly. And it's just very, very human in that moment. but at the very same time, very, very unhuman. Because what kind of human does that to one another? What sort of human, just in a field with hundreds of men, just beating one another till they can't walk anymore? They have families, they have children, they have lives, friends, parents, siblings. And then you just subtract their life from the world. You don't know where they went after they die. You don't know if there's a God. You don't know what they believed in. You don't know where they went after you killed them. All you know is you subtracted their consciousness from this world. You watched the life slip out of their eyes as you killed them. It's not like you just saw somebody get shot in front of you and you watched the life slip out of their eyes. You beat them slowly as it went out of their eyes, as the life and the flare that was once part of their being slowly flickered out. People were traumatized after that. PTSD. And what's even worse about PTSD is about traumatic experience, which just people couldn't really deal with, and even suicides of soldiers after the war who just were thinking about their time in the war. It's not just like PTSD in the sense of something happened to you. It's PTSD in the sense that you fear yourself because you did that. Like, it's not like some exterior threat that you're scared of, like an abusive person. You're scared of yourself because you killed a man with your bare hands. Little barbaric. But at the same time, you were doing it for a reason.
And you have to protect yourself and everything.
Your family.
It's like the horrors of all of that.
Exactly. Some of them couldn't do it. Some of them didn't flinch while doing it. Especially soldiers who had lost family to the opposing side. They didn't flinch.
Yeah, they were just like, this is revenge.
Exactly. Anyways, but yeah, moving on that. Not because it's dark or anything, just because I thought there's not really much else to say on that. Just to think about it and what it could have been like. Going back to speaking about the tanks and the British tank, I just wanted to mention that about the part interchangeability on tanks. Now it's time to speak about the British tanks, and they are very unamusing, actually, very boring, and in the sense how the Germans had this really, really great tanks with oh yeah, they were godly, they never broke down, they were super good in combat, but supply, no part interchangeability, lack of resources, not many tanks. And then the Soviets had literally the exact opposite problem. The British tanks are incredibly boring in the sense that they didn't have anything interesting for them, in the sense that their tanks were incredibly average. Their tanks weren't great, they weren't the best, and they were not the worst. They had interchangeability that was kind of in between the Germans and the Sovs.
They were kind of almost there.
Exactly, they were just there. They weren't as powerful as the Germans. They didn't have as many as the Soviets. Their quality quantity balance was quite even. They were, by all accounts, very solid tanks. They had quite a few flaws. For example, something that the Army struggled with was part interchangeability, like I was saying. Whereas compared to the Air Force, the RAF had some of the people, like the heads up designers, the higher up designers of the RAF, had to assist the Army with part interchangeability because the RAF had part interchangeability down to a science. The British Air Force was probably they were very good when it came to part interchangeability. Very, very good. So they had to help the Army with that. The British tanks struggled with part interchangeability, but yeah, they were very solid tanks. They had a decent amount of them. They would just that's what I say. They're very boring. They didn't really have a quirk to them. They were just
They were really boring because they were what was needed.
Exactly. They were decently solid tanks. There wasn't anything major wrong with them. Of course, they had problems, like I said. part interchangeability. Of course, they
This
were
is still
integrating.
like early tanks still though, compared to what is around now.
Yeah, that's true.
These are still like very primitive, even though they were like 40 years old at this point, like in the design and the whole concept. They were still relatively.
Yeah.
I mean,
They were still pretty early on all the tanks really were early in design, primitive to what we have now. And yeah, by all accounts, decent tanks. And the same can really be said for the tanks of the United States, except like they had a bigger problem with part interchangeability. In the sense that, like, America, they were very far removed from the world. They didn't really have to worry about lack of resources, aside from, America's just general lack of natural resources. But, like, they didn't have to worry about natural resources in the sense that, oh, crap, another country might steal our resource tiles,
yeah.
because they were quite far removed from the world. So the engineers really could just do whatever they wanted, in the sense that, same thing with the German ones, they just kind of innovated. The engineers were having way too much fun. Basically, the designers were just partying. Not as hard as the German ones, mind you. The German ones, I feel like quite a lot of their tank designs was, hey guys, let's get drunk and
Let's build something that shoots people.
let's everybody just play I don't know, tic-tac-toe, and every single time you lose you take a shot, and then every 30 minutes we design a tank. And they designed the weirdest stuff. Like, it was cool in its engineering, but they just had too much fun. And then I feel like they like had these stupid designs in their office, and then like one of their like higher ups like came like and got it, and but because they were drunk, they accidentally put the stuff that they meant to throw away like in the rejects in the, hey, higher ups, let's build this box. And then so they built it. But yeah. Yeah. Very interesting tanks from the Germans. Effective, like I said. But
Effective,
like I said,
like by no means ineffective, but
the tanks in the early war, like the Panzers, like I was saying, those were very good. Those were really, really good. But towards the end of the war, when they got desperate, they were just producing the weirdest tanks. Like, oh my god.
they were essentially making whatever they could.
They were so odd. But even in the sense that, like, they weren't minimalizing and making smaller tanks and, trying to make them effective as possible. No, they were, like, going all out. It's like, well, it's like the German, like, engineers were like, well, we're doomed. We're all going to die, and we're probably going to get hung for helping the Germans after this. Might as well build the biggest, craziest shit that we can.
While we got the chance.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've got the chance. It's going to be our last couple months as engineers. Actually, no. Let me rephrase that. This is going to be our last couple months of being alive. might as well party.
Might as well go out with a bang.
Exactly. There was one tank that never got built, and it was just the craziest design in history. Maybe next stream I'll get like a blueprint for Ben to put on the stream. But it was
save it for history's mysteries, Edward, because we're wasting good content here.
That is, I admit it is a good point, but I mean, we can have more edited versions of these conversations on history's mysteries that are better, that are scripted. So I'm not pausing with my ums and uhs and uhs.
No, I like this format for like some things. Like, it's just like a conversation about
tank.
Yeah, because it's just, because if it's scripted, it's just we plan this out beforehand. We know what we're going to say. We know what we're going to do. Unscripted for this kind of thing means that we're actually talking straight out of what went on in that moment.
That's true, but I mean, I want to do both kinds of videos on history.
That's what I meant. Like
because some people just want to watch us
we do
screw
profile
around.
This format as well.
That I agree. I do like kind of unscripted, but There's going to be a certain. I see two types of demographics who would watch the channel. Those who just want to see us talk about history in a very unscripted format, and then other people who are actually looking for informational content that'll get them the facts digestibly and quickly. Because you'll get facts here, but it'll be slower and more drawn out. And
it'll take at least an hour to get to the main section.
Exactly. And of course, there's just us even interrupting that with just saying dumb things. Like scenarios where
with Skillshare.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there will be people who just want the information quickly and digestibly, which respect. And so I want to do those types of videos as well. I was thinking maybe I don't know. We could stream writing the scripts actually, as when we're talking about the facts that we want to bring up. That'd be interesting.
It'd be difficult.
I mean, that's true, because especially if we run into a stalemate of like, what to write. But yeah, I was just talking about the British and American tanks. Yes, the British and American tanks, not really anything eventful. Yeah, I would talk about the French tanks in World War II, but they didn't really get a very good opportunity to use their tanks in World War II. Sorry, France.
Yeah, this is what we need to do. We need to do like an unscripted conversation for the channel on what's it called? On the different tanks and what went on.
I mean, there was a tank during the invasion of France. They had to cross a river, so they put the tank on a raft and started floating it across. And on the last tank to get over, the raft sank, and the tank is still there. I'm pretty sure.
I think I've heard about that.
Yeah, it's like the Panzer of the Lake or something. There was also this one thing in World War II where I've seen the image and I don't remember. I don't know what it's about. It could even be Photoshop, but it's a tank that's being suspended above a ship, pointing down, and apparently it was attached there to shoot at submarines. That's like, oh yeah, that's definitely an American thing. Like that is, I guarantee you that was either an American tank or a German tank. There is no other country that would do that.
No other country who would just decide, hey, let's just suspend a tank in the air.
It was at like the back of the ship or something, and just facing down, like at an angle, being dead. It was so weird. The tank was like, it wasn't like it was like packed into the ship. It looked like such a jury-rigged thing. It was just being dangled off.
And they expected that to actually do a good job.
I don't know how effective it was. Like I said, the image could very easily be fake, but I don't think it is. Because if it is, it's like the best Photoshop I've ever seen. But yeah, they had the tank like in this thing, like at the back of the ship. Like they built.
The thing is, like with the kickback that you get from a tank, wouldn't that be dangerous for the ship that it's being held over?
Well, that's the thing. They had it in this harness thing. It was like a harness that grabbed the backside of the tank.
If it shot the water, wouldn't the water like splash really far up?
Well, I mean, yeah, but that's basically the same thing as any shell that is firing in a tank. Like,
but I mean, like how far away was like the actual tank's gun from the water?
From the water, it was not very far. Maybe, but
what if they actually put like the see, this is where I start coming into a bit of an error, because I can't describe tanks very well because I don't really talk about them that often. I'll just say like the gun, the barrel. That's it. That's right. But they should have. What if they put it underwater instead, straight off the bat?
Well, like dropping it into the sea?
No, like you drop the barrel, like the very tip of the barrel into the water, just so it was like under just a little bit.
Hold up, I'm trying to find the image that I'm talking about of the tank. What was up with this? Oh my god, no way.
What?
Apparently, the tank is Russian.
Oh,
Interesting. Apparently, I don't know. It was a caption to a meme that the image used. I don't even get this.
so it was the Russians that did it instead.
That's so.
So unexpected.
Wait, is this even from World War II? It's in color. What the heck?
Well, you know, there are things from World War II in
This
colour.
has got this. What? Maybe it is Photoshop because I'm looking at the image. It's not even in a harness. Like I thought this was a harness for the tank, but no. It what the?
Edward's just been broken.
This is so odd. It looks like they caught this like seconds before disaster. Like the tank's about to fall in. Turns out I was wrong about the distance between the barrel to the water. The barrel's about. It looks to be about a foot away from the sea. Who thought this was a good idea? Who did this? Oh, there's the underwater tank. And apparently, the person who made this image or who captured this image is Polish.
Right, so it's a Russian tank.
Or no. It's a different one. I was looking at another image of a Panzer, and what I think is a Panzer, is under the ocean, and the person who captured it is definitely Polish. I can tell because of the way that they're spelling their English. When tank is beings of underwater, heat from cannon is not problem. You can be of sittings on it when firing and not getting burned. That was written by a Pole.
All right.
Um. Yeah. I'm still wondering if this image is real or. There seems to be a man, above the tank, with his hands in the air, like he just does not care. Is that a dude? Oh yeah, that's definitely a dude. Um, Looks like he's holding the tank on strings or something. But
What?
I don't know what's going on.
Edward has been broken.
And this cannot be from World War II. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous because there's an excavator on the boat, or what looks to be an excavator. Yeah, that's the arm of an excavator. This has to be like, but that does look like a Russian World War II era tank on a very rusty boat. This has got to be like them disposing. This has got to be them like disposing of their trash. They had so many leftover World War II tanks that were so bad they're just dumping them into the ocean now. I go kill submarine for the motherland. I'm seeing a lot of captions for the image. I'm gonna save image as Tonk.
What?
Tonk.
Okay.
Perfect. Tonk. Here, Tonk. Have this. There's the Tonk.
I will have a look in a second.
Oh, I wonder. I don't know. I wonder what you'll make of that. For some reason, it didn't let me send it to you as an actual image. But that, yeah.
Let's see. I've got another at in TWA trains. I'll have a look at that in a minute. Download. Okay, I'll download that after.
That's that's a tank.
I'll download it after because my laptop's already. He's already.
Also, I'm actually going to get a very good link. Hold up. I'm going to get good link. Oh, that is my, ouch. Alternate. There it is. If only it happened. Oh, wow. What are the chances that this YouTube channel uploads a video about California and a video about Texas in the same month? When Texas fought a war with itself over where the capital should be. But it wasn't even like a civil war. It was just... It was a really angry lady with a tank. Or it was a really angry lady with a cannon. Don't question it. And then how California almost split in two, and if it happened, good lord, I wish that happened. Wait, wasn't I literally joking about this a couple streams ago?
What if California split in two?
Yeah.
I think so.
And I referenced that there was a proposal to do it, but I didn't know much about it. I'm going to have to watch this video later. Uh-oh. That's no good.
What?
Oh, did he really call it the... Oh, sorry, guys. What if France won the French and Indian War? Wow! Because we're so self-centered that we don't... Okay, that's stupid. The reason why I was just saying, because... So, we all know the 7 Years' War, right?
Yes.
See, in the United States, it's known as the French and Indian War because that's what we fought. We fought Indians and we fought French people. It's stupid. It is very stupid. Anyways, I should get what I came for.
So, okay, good. Look at this now. A bit more Sodor has farms on it.
Farm.
It's a lot nicer. At the start of this stream, it only had about, in this general area, it only had about 6 farms. Now it's got at least 20. And now I just need to fill in that area and then do Thomas's branch, which, for anyone who doesn't remember what that looks like, it is Elsbridge. Railway Series Elsbridge.
Hold on, I'm just trying to find this video. Oh yeah, I remember that. That was fun. And yeah, Britain and France did break the Middle East. Good job, guys. Ah, ah, ah.
Are you okay?
Oh, I just saw this video is titled, or this channel is Alternate History Hub, and I just scrolled past one of their videos, and it was, "What if the British Empire never existed?"
How many dislikes has it got?
It has, how many likes does it have?
No, how many dislikes does it have?
969. Nice. But that's not good because it has 32,000 likes.
And what does everyone say in the comments?
Well, I already clicked off because I'm looking for a certain video. I watched that video though. It's actually very interesting. Articles of Confederation, a world. Oh, that I can't say that on YouTube. That's a no-no. Not because YouTube will get angry, because Twitter. Hold up. Here it is. Here it is. This is the video that I was looking for. I'm just going to copy this link. So, I would love to. I will talk about the Battle of Britain and like how it really did change the scope of the war, and why Britain really would have. Britain never would have. Britain was in danger, and Hitler could have won the war if he played his cards differently. But the way that he did play his cards differently, the way that he played his cards in our world, doomed him. And really, there was no chance, aside from the slim chance that there was, obviously, but there was barely a chance that Germany would have won the Battle of Britain. And if they did attempt an actual invasion, they wouldn't have succeeded. And this video explains why they wouldn't have succeeded. Good watch, by the way. Very good channel. I don't know if that link actually works as a link, but you can copy it and go to the video because it's really good. And you should watch it and subscribe to his channel because I watch his channel a lot. Like, a lot. I do. Only in Russia. How long have we been live for? Oh, wow, we've been,
Wow.
yeah, we've been live for quite a while. Railgun, machine version, and it fires rockets from a side gun. Friend, pal, buddy, buckaroo.
Edward, that was ages ago. I read that out.
I know, but I just read it again, and I hate to inform you, but you don't shoot rockets from a gun. You shoot rockets from a rocket launcher. Guns fire bullets. Not rockets. Or I guess in the shotgun's case, they fire shells, like actual artillery, but it doesn't matter. Everybody says shotguns are called shotguns, but I don't think shotguns really aren't. They're kind of guns because they're handheld, but they're really more equivalent to a handheld artillery. Just the way that you load them and the way that they shoot and the things that they shoot, they are a lot more similar to hand. It's like if you shrunk a like a cannon, like artillery, and put it in your hand. Because they have shells that will break out and into a bunch of little bullets, like artillery. So we've reached one of those moments in the stream where I've run out of things to say.
And on that World War II bombshell, it is time to end.
Oh, is it really?
Well, I mean, if if people want us to stay around, I can stay around for another 20 minutes, but then I have some jobs that I need to get done.
It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way to go. It's a long way to
Skyrise says my
Tipperary.
brain has been confused with all the knowledge gained.
Oh, well, I'm glad that we are informational to you. If I wasn't going to be a politician, I would probably be a history teacher. That's a lie, actually. I'd be a scientist. But if I wasn't being a scientist, then I'd be a lawyer. And if I wasn't being a lawyer, then I'd probably be a CSI. And if I wasn't being a CSI, then I would probably be a history teacher.
Well, some of my teachers at school say I would be good if I like if they if well they, let me rephrase that. They said, are you coming back to this school after you finish university? And I said, what do you mean? And I said, would you like to come back as a music and history teacher? And I'm like, maybe.
Well, no, because you'll be in the greatest country in the world.
But I said maybe, and then I said, as long as you get rid of all of the idiots first. I'm not having people with the IQ of a cherry in my class.
Cherry, of all the things that you could say.
And then I don't like cherries, so and then they said, okay. And I said, yes. I said, I'm only teaching people with a brain. And then,
well, isn't that kind of the point of teaching, is giving them a brain?
No, but I mean like in terms of like behavior.
Like people who are willing to learn.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like with
that's
like
why I didn't. That's what part of when I was considering, like, if I wanted to be a history teacher, that's what I learned. Like when I look at my own, classmates, they don't care. But I mean, to be fair, the reason why they don't care is because of the curriculum. Like, it's crap. Like, you don't learn anything in school, and I understand why people don't want to pay attention. At least in the United States, you don't learn anything. It sucks. And yeah, like, I get why my classmates just disregard everything they hear, because it's worthless.
And then even my dad said I'd be good at being a history teacher. So I might consider that, depending on how my directing course goes.
And
I might consider
on the list of, like, if I was blah blah blah, I would be blah blah blah, or if I wasn't being blah blah blah, I would be blah blah blah. If I wasn't disabled, then I'd be in the military. But dreams, everyone, they only exist so they can be crushed.
Oh, it's a harsh reality.
It is. I actually really did want to join the military. Not the U.S. military, obviously. I actually really wanted to join the Royal Navy. But funnily enough, I don't think they take applicants who cannot hold guns or stand. Well, I can stand and I can walk, but like I can't hold the gun and walk simultaneously, because I have to hold onto my walker so I can move.
You need to like place the gun on the water.
That would be pretty epic, but then I'd basically just be a mobile artillery unit. And less of a soldier.
Like, we don't consider you as a soldier anymore because
Also, if I trip, I could very easily just fall off the ship.
fair enough.
Like, very easily. Like, if I was on an aircraft carrier deck and I lose control of my wheels for a split second, well, man overboard, gentlemen.
Watch out overboard. Into the water you go.
I could be an RAF pilot, but I don't like planes.
I would be an RAF pilot if they brought back the Spitfire.
Well, the Spitfire's not good anymore.
Well, I know, but like for like a heritage thing.
Well, then you wouldn't be a real military pilot. Sorry, you can't face down the Air Force of the Russian Federation with
I
your
don't want
World
to
War
be a
II.
real Air Force pilot. I just want to fly a Spitfire.
Bruh.
They bring back the Spitfire, let me fly it, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll sign up. But no, they haven't brought it back.
Then you can't join the Air Force.
I'm not flying, piloting one of their modern high-tech jets. They're rubbish. You don't get a feel for them anymore. You just press a few buttons, they do what you want.
I mean, to be fair, the Spitfires are very similar.
And no, but like the modern ones, you press a button and you're like flying faster than the speed of sound, and then you've got to like panic about all that. But then, like in the Spitfire, you've got like a top speed of like 300 or so miles an hour. It's fairly.
Here's the way that I look at it.
Fairly
and I
slow.
don't look at the things like this, and in many other ways, like if I'm in a railway, personnel, like, the goods are still being delivered, so I don't care what's delivering them. No. I don't care what aircraft they're flying in, because regardless of aircraft, they're defending the empire. And that's all that matters.
Spitfire or Hurricane, that's the way for me to join.
Fair enough. I was going to, do an inspiring thing that's like, oh, it doesn't matter, what, aircraft you're flying. What matters is you're laying your life down for the queen, for king and country and empire. But that's cool too.
What? So it means so you're saying that I'm not allowed to say that I like this certain type of
No,
plane?
that's true. But like, you're like, oh, I wouldn't sign up if they didn't have this. And I was like trying to do this whole inspirational thing about how it doesn't matter what plane you're flying. What matters is you're defending the empire.
I don't want to fly a Harrier jump jet or a Avro Vulcan bomber or whatever. I want to fly a Spitfire. That's the only reason why Roald Dahl joined, so he could fly aircraft like that. I want to do loop-the-loops in a Spitfire. You can't do that properly in a modern plane.
Yeah, you can. You just have to slow down.
Exactly. You have to slow down, which takes the fun away.
Well, would you rather tear the wings off the aircraft? No, that's the thing. Like with the you didn't have to slow down on the Spitfires because they were slower, and you could pull up and do all these maneuvers.
Exactly, that's what I mean. You don't have to worry about slowing down to the correct speed in a Spitfire because you can just do it straight away.
Yeah, but you can't chase after the enemy.
I don't want to chase after the enemy. I want to like put her along at 300 miles an hour, just casual stroll through the sky.
Then just get a pilot's license and don't join the Air Force. Like if you're like, oh yeah, I'll join the Air Force, but they got to do this. It's like, but if you don't want to chase down the enemy, then you just want to fly. Then like,
you get training for free if you join the Air Force.
Oh yeah. But yeah, like free pilot training isn't where you join the Air Force. You join the Air Force to defend the empire.
I mean, many people who were like pilots in the RAF went on to do like casual flying because they had the license to.
Yeah, because they got old and they retired.
No, but these are like.
You're not old, okay. Are you? Yet?
Well, I mean, I almost did go for a pilot's license, but I decided to quit that.
One of my friends is a pilot.
And I would do that, but I still have a fear of flying. And there's no point in like flying a plane if you want to, but if you're scared. So, however, I am getting my. Well, I was about to say firefighter's license, and I realised no, that'd be stupid. No, but in about a year from now, I will be a qualified firefighter if I pass the training.
And about a year from now, I will just be a slightly more crippled version of what I am now.
A slightly more what?
Crippled.
Oh.
Woohoo! I promise I'm not crying. I'm not, I swear. No.
Just the sarcasm in that. It's just...
Hey, what can I say? I'm salty, okay?
I know, but it's like the amount of sarcasm that was in that one line. It's hilarious but sad at the same time.
It's just dripping with cynicism. I mean, it's the truth. I don't really go for anything in school. You know, I was gonna say I'll be a more educated version of what I am now, but school doesn't really teach you anything. So
At my school, we have certain teachers who don't teach us anything, but the rest of my teachers are really good.
that's the thing. Teachers like my fifth grade science teacher was a god, like very cool person, but she wasn't. She didn't really teach me anything that I didn't already know.
Well, that's because you're like more advanced than everyone else in the class.
Well, that's true, but like, yeah, I guess, yeah, I
Like
guess that's
stuff
true.
that you knew, stuff that you knew. It's like me, like in history, the teacher, well, the teacher's teaching like basic stuff. Everyone else just doesn't care in the class. I'm like, well, if no one else in the class actually cares, why don't you step up and teach me some advanced history instead? Because I'm the only one willing to learn anything.
Don't even get me started on history. Oh my god, it just, good lord, kill me. I remember, I think I told you about this. So we had to do this thing on the Revolutionary War and how, you know, the Americans beat back the evil British, and you know, the righteous rebellion beat back the evil British. And as she was reading about it, she could just see me in the back of the class because
It's
I
just
was a
seething with rage.
yeah, exactly. She just watched me, and slowly as she kept on reading, I got more and more pissed about the way they were talking about the monarchy, to the point where she was just like, you know, you don't have to listen to this. You can go out. You can leave the room for a minute. And I was like, thank you. I'm gonna leave.
I will make my exit known. Slams door.
And then I came back in, and then I was like, you know, I'm not gonna write this right. I'm not going to write slander against the crown. And then she was like, yeah, that's fair. And such a good teacher. She allowed me to write about how the revolution was wrong and, like, you know, the British were superior in all ways.
You know, that should be a thing. Like, you should look at both aspects and then also, like, you know, like, that's what you should do for that subject. Like, you write down both aspects of the war and then proceed to, like, write about your views on the matter.
I mean, mine was an unbiased approach. Like, I didn't, you know, obviously just say that the British were perfect angels because, you know, no one's perfect. But, like, yeah. And then I came down, and oh, yeah, guess what? Everybody else's arguments were weak. They didn't write it very well. I spent a long time writing mine. Mine stood out, and even a couple of other people became anti American afterwards. I'm not even kidding. It was great.
You see, I wish I could do that, but nobody in my history classes care about history, and that brings me back to what I was saying before. Because my history teacher, I've got the same history teacher this year, and I know that nobody else in the class is going to care about said history, like in the subject. And I already know all of it. And this year I'm actually excited because we're looking at World War II for once, and more of the British side of World War II. Which I'm excited for. But the thing is, nobody in the class is still going to care. And so that's why I'm going to say to my history teacher, can you just, you know, teach me year 11 or 12 history instead for once, instead of stuff I already know? And if he says no, well, I'll just look in the year 12 textbook and copy all my answers from the questions in that. Just, you got to mark me an A now. I did year 12 work.
Yes.
So.
I mean, well, you know, you don't want to like get it. You know, I mean, you should probably ask permission because, I mean, you know.
Actually, because you know, I work at the library anyway, meaning I have access to any textbook I want, so I can just borrow out a year 12 textbook instead.
That's true. Actually, you can't really, or your teacher can't really stop you.
Can't stop me if I'm already in control of the library. You know when you're just in charge of the resources section, and your teacher tells you you cannot borrow a textbook for that year level, but you borrow it anyway because you're in charge of the resources for teachers section.
Oh, what the? Oh my God. That's okay. It was weird. Anyway, but yeah, everybody else presented their stories, or like their papers on it for about 2 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes. Dude, I sat there for 15 minutes preaching the gloriousness of the crown, and stuff like that, and how what we did was wrong. And one of the children in the front row, after I finished, said, I don't know if I speak, or I think I speak for a significant majority of us when I say, all hail the queen.
Oh.
And then like 1 or 2 people actually joined in, and it was great. And,
that is when that happens.
Huh?
I said that is really good when that happens.
I was very proud. I created some royalists. Good, all in all, success.
For one of the subjects that, like, one of my other friends who had history last semester was telling me, said that we have to pick between 3 things: the Holocaust, the Battle of Britain, and Australia's involvement in World War II.
Good Lord.
I'm going for the Battle of Britain.
Sorry to Australians, but like in World War II, you didn't really do much. The Gallipoli campaign. I mean, don't get me wrong. You did a crap ton in World War II, but you did more in World War I. For example, Gallipoli.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Like last year,
most of them died. To be fair, most of them died in the Gallipoli campaign. But you know what? I support them even more because they knew what was right. They didn't care about the Australian provisional government. They died for the crown. Truly united. They didn't care if they were marching into certain death. They obeyed their monarch thoughtlessly. It was perfect.
And that's the thing. Like last year, the only 2 things we looked at in history, we did 1 lesson on the French Revolution, which our teacher just sat and ate Cheetos while we looked at a textbook. And he does this. He sits at the table and eats Cheetos and Coke, and drinks
Coke. I learned that after I tried to drink tea, drink bacon. Remember?
No, but he said, he just said, right, see you at the end of the lesson, started eating Cheetos. So we had 1 lesson on to answer French Revolution questions in this textbook. And then for the next, I kid you not, for the next 4 months, all we did was look at the First Fleet. The First Fleet, like, to Australia, like that's all we looked at. And then at the very, very end of the term, we spent 3 weeks on World War One. And I'm kind of scared that he'll do the same thing for this year.
And I guess they talked mostly about the Gallipoli campaign.
Yes, and he didn't even speak about it. He put on a video, sat down, ate more Cheetos, and then chucked a textbook at us all and said, right, answer these questions. See you at the end of the lesson.
Please tell me they at least mentioned the Kiwis' involvement and didn't say it was just Australia.
No, just said Australia was the best and did everything and talked about that. And I'm like, you're not even mentioning the other countries who did more of an effort.
Well, actually, I mean, the Australians did do most of it, but the Kiwis were there too.
No, but they did, like, I know they did quite a lot. I'm not saying they didn't, but it's
they did take the brunt of the Gallipoli.
I know that's what I'm saying. Like, he could have at least talked about that, but he didn't. He just sat and ate, and we just read from a very biased textbook.
But it was not just Australia. Britain, Australians, and New Zealanders worked as one in tandem with one another. Good.
And that's what I'm kind of scared about, because we have to pick from those 3 things, and I'm going to do the Battle of Britain because
Epic dog fights in the sky, outnumbered.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
why
even going to
we're
include a
now
link
known
to
by
that in my
you
report.
as the few. The Battle of Britain was our pilot's finest hour. Although it seemed at first the Germans were the stronger power. Oh, so strong.
We have 5 minutes left to go till the end of the stream.
We mustered all our courage in summer 1940, scrambled Air Force squadrons to fly sortie after sortie. Saw Nazi invasion off just as airmen should. Heard our bravery meant Hitler wouldn't be back for good. We beat the Fuhrer.
Without his frequent flies, your life
would be purer. Yeah, yeah. Britain secure. A story of heroics will forever endure. Oh, yeah.
So I think you'll find it's true.
Never end the field of human conflict. There's so much owed, but so many to so few. God
It is a good song.
It really is. Gracious Queen, long live our noble Queen. God save the Queen.
Luke says history fascinates me a lot.
And her victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the Queen.
Edward.
Yes.
Luke says history fascinates me a lot, and BZ Railway said me too.
Good lads, good lads. I hope we taught you something today. Look just past the stories and the political, just like the armies and stuff. Look past that. Look at the technology. Look at why the technology the way it was. Look at resources, all of that. Thy choices gifts
on the screen.
On her be pleased to pour. Long may she reign. May she defend our laws and ever give us cause to sing with heart and voice. God save the Queen.
And that's all we have time for today.
Sorry for my voice being, shit, but, vaccine.
All right.
Sorry, Hoover. And I think it's funny how it's kind of become a tradition where I sing "God Save the Queen" at the end of the streams.
Yes. All right, we've got to end now, otherwise the outro won't finish on time.
So. Okay, hurry. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you very much.
God save the Queen.
And we'll see you next week for the one stream that will be on next week, because it'll be my birthday the day after. All right, bye everyone.
Bye everyone.